All right, guys, let's get into this TNA Impact reaction show. I thought that this was kind of an up and down show. It was better than last week because last week did not feature the main event of quality that we got this week, which was one of the best TNA Impact matches of the year, Moose versus Speedball. And I really got a lot to say about that match, and I will get to that at that point. But the show opens up. Jordynne Grace and Masha Slamovich defeat Tasha Steelz and Alicia Edwards. If this match reminds you of anything, it'll probably remind you of Joe Hendry and Nick Nemeth facing Eddie Edwards in the JDC last week. Except for this week, Jordynne and Masha got the victory. The two babyface heel and challenge, or two babyface. They have the challenger and the champion tagging together, and that's going to lead to them eventually having a rematch. So boring. It's like they just have no ideas. They're just a creatively bankrupt company at this point. So they won the match. The match was let's be honest, this match wasn't a great match. Like, this is not one of those, like, if you're a match person, you need to watch it. And really, they didn't advance any storylines. Like, there was nothing interesting about this. Tasha Steelz and Alicia Edwards they're like, one of them might challenge Masha Slamovich for the title, but neither of them are interesting challengers at this point. Although last year Alicia Edwards did have a really fun match with Naomi, or I guess her name was Trinity in TNA. That was a fun match, but they actually had like a good feud going into it. And I thought Alicia, well, I never thought that she would be the champion. I never thought she would beat Trinity. She provided an intriguing matchup. And it was an intriguing story heading into it. So I thought that was good. But right here, they're not even telling a story. It's like Jordynne and Masha are teaming, they're friends. And Jordynne's gonna want that rematch. That's it, essentially. Jordynne was also on NXT this week. She was in a 10-man or 10-person tag. I'll be honest, I didn't watch it. But let's go to the finish here. Eddie Edwards tags in and hops on Grace's back with Alicia Edwards tags in and hops on Grace's back with a sleeper hold. Grace makes a tag to Slamovich, who slaps a standing rear naked choke. Sleeper on Edwards with a neck brace and all, and quickly gets the win. So she tapped out because she still got a bad neck. And Ray Walt is livid at the gall of Slamovich to target Edwards' poor neck health awareness, folks. Roddy Strong, I guess. After the match, show heads into a commercial break. Literally no story. There is no story. There's no feud happening. There is nothing interesting happening in this women's division. We're going to eventually get a Grace and Slamovich rematch, and it's just going to be two friends wrestling, trying to have a good match. And the match will be good because they're two very good wrestlers. But it's boring. It's really boring. Then we go back, and footage is shown of Savannah Evans' return last week in an attack of Lei Ying Lee. Jim Miller asked Evans about this. She said she got tired of sitting at home and watching people get opportunities. She's back now to take her own, and she's done talking to Gia too. I thought this was a good, short, effective interview. I like Savannah Evans returning as a monster heel. I am curious as to why she was gone so long. Was she injured, or were they just not booking her? Did they just not have a story for her, so they just let her sit at home all year? Because she has not been around in a long time. And that's a shame because I find her to be like a pretty compelling television character. I like her size. She looks different than everybody. She comes across as a monster. And I do feel like she's probably going to lose to Lei Ying Lee because Lei Ying Lee is more famous. She came from NXT. And she probably has the bigger upside. I think that Savannah Evans, as a monster heel challenger, would present a compelling matchup with Masha Slamovich if they build Savannah as to a credible challenger. But I think they're just setting her up to get over Lei Ying Lee. That's what it looks like it's done. That's what it looks like they're doing to me. Okay, back we get for the final time on TNA Impact. One last time. We're not going to get this again. So for the last time, I get to play rock and roll.
Rock and roll, spooky too. Dreams will come and haunt you too. Rock and roll, spooky too. She's the girl of your nightmares. She's coming for you.
All right. She's the girl of your nightmares. She's coming for you. We got Rock and Roll Spooky Chew taking on one Rosemary. And how they did not have this match on the Halloween episode is fucking mind-boggling to me. Just like you see how they are just incapable of capitalizing on things. Like it makes no sense at all to wait until this episode to have this match. You have Spooky Chew, who plays a demon that haunts you in your dreams. She's fucking female Freddy Krueger. And then you have the demon Rosemary, one of the scariest characters in TNA history, who's fit for Halloween. Yet they have her wrestling. They have these two wrestling each other a week after Halloween when it was taped before. Like, how do they not have this match on Halloween? This was the perfect Halloween match. And they had it on November 7th. They had it on November 7th, a week after October 31st. This company is stupid. It's just like I truly feel like they have no idea what they're doing. They have no idea what they're doing. How it didn't occur to them to have this match on Halloween makes no sense to me at all. People will try to explain it away, but there is no explanation as to why this match was not on Halloween. Now, this match wasn't any good. They were hitting each other with a fucking pillow. It was stupid. Like, the match mostly was pretty terrible. And I think the crowd was dead for it. But if this were the Halloween-themed match, I think people would have gotten up for it. Maybe the reason why the crowd was so quiet is because it's like, wow, this was not on the fucking Halloween episode. What the hell's going on? Like, what's this company doing? And you got Tommy Dreamer in the back. It's like, oh, yeah, this is a great November 7th match. The two spooky characters in the company dressing up like demons. We're just going to do it a week after Halloween. Makes no sense. Dum-dums. Rosemary got a cane, takes a big swing, and then locks Chew in a full Nelson or mandible claw with it. Chew bites her way out. Rosemary hits her finisher seconds later, uses the cane for good measure to win, and then we go into a commercial break. This was after they just were hitting each other with a pillow. The announcers were trying to sell it as if there was something in the pillow, but if there were something in the pillow would have some weight to it. Like you would notice it. There was nothing in the pillow. It was stupid. So stupid. Bad television. And then we go to From the Vault. And I hated the From the Vault segments years ago because TNA did the From the Vault every single week as a way to sell Impact Plus subscriptions. Turns out it didn't sell a single one. So they were showing old matches featuring famous wrestlers from AEW television or WWE television that used to be in TNA. Like that was their gimmick. But this week they did it for a different reason. They did it because this is where Chris Bay and Ace Austin were going to be wrestling the Hardy Boys. And so instead, they actually showed From the Vault a never-before-seen match from Chicago where Mustafa Ali and Mike Santana wrestled. The match was not much. It turned into a schmoz. Campaign Singh got involved, and then Joe Hendry made the save, and then it turned into a tag match, and the babyfaces went over on the heels in Chicago. It leads to nothing. It was kind of fun to see it. No one ever had seen it before, so that's kind of cool. I do think that that's what they should be using their YouTube for. And I thought at one point that's what they were doing, like Main Event Mondays on YouTube, and they were showing these things, but this one just never made it, I guess. So I don't know. But I don't fault them for what they did here. In fact, I think it was kind of smart. I thought this would be the spot where they would put the Full Metal Mayhem match, kind of like what they did last week. Because last week, if you remember, they showed highlights of the Speedball Vikingo match because they were going to air the Trent Seven Vikingo match where Vikingo got injured, but they couldn't because the match got cut short and they didn't want to show the injury. Thankfully, Vikingo seems to be okay. So they just aired something from Bound for Glory. I thought they would do that here, but instead they did a never-before-seen match. for the Thanksgiving special, I think they should just show Bound for Glory. Just show the whole pay-per-view. Like, obviously condensed like a little bit for 2 hours, right? But just show the pay-per-view. Don't show any of the bad matches, but show all like the good matches from the pay-per-view and do like a Bound for Glory special. That's probably what they should do. So there you go. Steve Macklin is shown talking directly into the camera. He sends a message to Josh Alexander. He brings up having his hands zip tied and beaten. He makes it clear that he didn't really lose to the walking weapon. And he said one line in there that I thought was really great. He said, "You don't have a boss in the back protecting you anymore." So now now he's going to kick his ass because Scott D'Amore is not there protecting him. And that was a storyline going on TV for a long time. So where Scott D'Amore was always kind of looking out for Josh, protecting him from himself to the detriment of the television show at times. But I thought that was I thought that was a pretty good line, pretty clever, good stuff. Okay, and now from there we go. Zachary Wentz and Trey McGuiller shown talking backstage that there's always another obstacle in front of them. They ultimately decide to climb. It's all about the climb anyways, and they're ready to do so again. And they literally climb up the set behind them as the segment wraps up and heads into a commercial break. And when the show returns, they're back in their treehouse with the studio audience, and they're smoking some weed and doing all kinds of stuff. And so they're ready to make another climb back towards the TNA tag team titles. They did get their asses kicked by First Class last week. So one of the highlights of the show is next. One of the highlights of the show, we go to Joe Hendry comes out. So Hendry says it's usually time to talk about Joe Hendry, but now it's time to talk about Nick's brother, Ryan Nemeth. Fans react with uh-oh and laughter as Hendry talks about researching his career. He mentions he put together a custom music video. He said that he's actually talked to Access TV executives about getting extra time for the show this week because this is going to take so long due to how great Ryan Nemeth's career has been and all the extensive research he had to do and all the clips he had to pull together. He says he wants to celebrate the amazing accolades achieved by Ryan Nemeth, and there's a lot to get through. The Ryan Nemeth story is then shown, and then it goes, he's Nick Nemeth's brother, the end. And that was the entire thing, and everybody chanted one more time. It got a big reaction. Hendry says that they'll add another chapter because Ryan Nemeth will have to face Joe Hendry next week on Impact, and I believe that was being taped. I don't know if it was taped last night or if it's taped tonight in Fayetteville. I thought that was so funny. That was good. You know what? I think that Ryan Nemeth could be a good heel manager, like the Hollywood hunk, kind of doing a Jim Cornette style managerial thing, like kind of taking from Cornette and Freddie Blassie and Heyman and those cats. Where like so if they need to get a mouthpiece and if they need to get a manager for Jake something in Hammerstone, I think Ryan Nemeth would fit good in that role. I think that would be pretty cool. Mike Santana shown backstage when First Class duo AJ Francis and Casey Navarro walk up to him. Francis looking like Suge Knight in the 90s, literally quotes his Source Awards speech dissing Puff Daddy about being all on the records, all in the videos and dancing, and essentially offers Santana to join them. Santana tells him that he just went through the system by himself, and why would he need someone like you to help? He walks off. Francis tells Navarro that he's going to need him to handle Santana. Navarro doesn't seem to be thrilled, and the show heads into another commercial break. And then show returns, and Iceman makes his way out inside the Impact Zone. He handles a formal ring induction for his newest protege, Heather by Elegance. And she comes out accompanied by Ash, and after she settles in the ring, Spitfire theme hits, and out comes the TNA Knockouts. Tag team champions Jody Threat and Danny Luna. They have a little match here, not too great. Jody Threat defeats Heather by Elegance. So last week we had Ash by Elegance defeat Danny Luna. This week, Jody Threat defeats Heather. And then last night on the TV tapings, these two tag teams had more singles matches. They just kind of reversed. So they don't know how to book a women's tag team division. It sucks. But anyway, I know for a fact that these fucking Elegance girls can be the tag champions. Just get it over with already. Just put it on Explosion. It's so stupid. And then we go to the main event. I got to tell you, this main event was one of the best Impact matches of the year, like TNA Impact matches of the year, best television matches of the year. right up there with among the best Moose matches I've ever seen. And I thought Moose presented a compelling challenge for Speedball Bailey. Speedball typically wrestles guys his own size, and you know those are the types of matches you get. But Moose is a legit 300-pounder. He's like 6'3", 6'4". And to see Speedball in the ring with like a legit super heavyweight, and then they still tear the fucking house down. I thought that was fantastic, and everybody's giving credit to Speedball, but you have to give a lot of credit to Moose here. Moose can go when he needs to. He can. I think Moose delivered here. He really did. And if you have not watched, I make a straight point. Go watch this main event if you haven't watched already. I think that Moose really delivered here. He was able to match what Speedball is able to do. This was not Speedball carrying Moose in any way, shape, or form. This was two guys having a great fucking match. Two really, really, really good pro wrestlers. And Moose is one of the most athletic wrestlers in all of pro wrestling. And you're going to say, well, Mike, Jack Cartwheel can do cartwheels. Okay. He's a good gymnast. Okay. But Moose is like a legit athlete, NFL player, right? College football star from Syracuse, 3rd-round draft pick in the NFL, starting right tackle for the Atlanta Falcons and for the New England Patriots. And then he has trimmed himself down to where he's like shredded. And the guy can do all the gymnastics moves that all those little guys can do. He just doesn't do them very often because he's a fucking super heavyweight and he doesn't have to. He's a big man power move wrestler. But now he has transitioned into the X division at the age of 40. But this match proved to me that he can actually work X division matches, that he is capable, like he is athletically capable of working X division style matches and bringing a different element to the X division that we haven't seen in a long time. I'm interested in this. A lot of people are offended by this because they don't like Moose, and that's okay. They don't think Moose is a good wrestler because he does power moves, right? They don't like the big power move wrestlers. I understand. You like the little guys kicking out of stuff, doing all the moves, you know, pile drivers and Canadian destroyers and super kicks and dives and then 2.9 after 2.9 after 2.9. Moose can do those things. He doesn't for the most part because that's not his role. His role has been big man power move wrestler. And as a heel, he's a big man power move, and then he sells a lot. He actually is really good at selling. He sells a ton because he typically wrestles guys who are a lot smaller than him, and he's actually selling for them to make them look better, which is what he did for Speedball here, right? At one point, Speedball countered the spear into just a roll-up, a small package that got a really good 2.9. Like, the crowd bought into that. I'm personally, like, I already knew who won, and I bought into it. I was like, wait a minute. It's like, wow, is he going to get him here? It was a really good move. It was a really good, like, spot. And Moose dove right into it. And there was another move where Speedball hit a poison rana off the middle rope, and Moose spiked his head into the mat. And I slowed it down. He narrowly escaped paralysis there. We almost had 3 major injuries on that set of tapings because that was scary, and I never want to see Moose do that again. He should never do that again. But I thought his head hit the mat. It looked so good in real time, but you slow it down. It's like, yeah, they executed that move perfectly. Yeah, they did. I just don't ever want to see it again because I was super scared. I was super scared for Moose. Now, there is an argument out there, and I buy into the argument that the X division should be for up-and-coming wrestlers. I agree with that. I do. I don't like seeing the former heavyweight champions go back down to the X division. That is not my preference. I thought Speedball was really, because he just wasn't like known on television. He's an indie star. So even though he's like in his mid 30s now, so I thought he was like perfect for the X division. Like that's where you want him. But I thought that I don't like seeing like the former world heavyweight champion go back down to the X division and go into there. It'd be like if you were a junior heavyweight in New Japan, it'd be like Kenny Omega when he left the junior heavyweight division and declared himself a heavyweight. And then he went and won the heavyweight world title. And then he goes back down to junior. I don't like that. That would seem like it'd be a step down for him. Now this doesn't seem like a step down for Moose. It looks like he's trying to bring the X division title up to prominence. And I get that, but I think the X division title in spirit is supposed to be for the young up and coming wrestlers who are making a name for themselves, right? Leon Slater, Trey Miguel, Zachary Wentz, Ace Austin, like those guys. It's a style, but it should be for a young up and coming talent. Um, but there's no hard and fast rules in pro wrestling, and there's no hard and fast rules with the X division. That's why they say the no limits thing. So I think Moose presents an intriguing possibilities as X Division champion. And I think he's going to show a lot of people that he can do X Division style matches going forward. He's going to be doing matches with Leon Slater. He'll do matches with Laredo Kid. I hope he gets in there with Ace Austin. I would love to see Ace Austin. I'd love to see him in there with the Zachary Wentz. I'd love to see him in there with Trey Miguel. He's probably going to have a little bit of a run. I hope the run leads to him of ultimately putting over Leon Slater in 2025 and then Slater carrying the division going forward. He has made it clear that this is not an option C type situation, that he wants to elevate the X Division championship. And I'm really glad that he said that. Now, he could just be working everybody, and then he does option C ultimately, because one thing we know about Moose is he actually is a liar. I know for a fact he's a liar because I interviewed the guy and he lied to me. That could be, but if you take him at his word, which is pretty difficult thing to do, it looks like he just wants to have like an all-time X Division run. So that does present intriguing possibilities. But then putting the X Division title kind of ultimately alienates TNA away from fringe AEW fans who typically try to watch a lot of different stuff and they hate TNA, and it just gives them an opportunity to shit on TNA even more. And honestly, that doesn't bother me. Like, you should just continue. Like, I think TNA should be unapologetically TNA. I think they should be like, yeah, we're going. Moose is one of our biggest stars of the last decade. He's a 2-time world heavyweight champion. He's main evented several pay-per-views, including our biggest pay-per-view of all time. So we're going to put the X Division title on him for a little bit and have him work with some of these young talents and try to get these guys over. Now, he's probably going to beat a lot of them, but at the end of it, hopefully we get to them putting over Leon Slater. Now, someone told me, I don't trust that they're actually going to do that. I agree. I think there's a real possibility that he ends up just putting over somebody that gets fired from WWE eventually. Or gets fired from AEW as opposed to Leon Slater. Or he just ends up putting over somebody that's been X Division champion a couple of times already, like Trey or Zach or Ace Austin, right? Which would also be fine, but I think we need to pivot towards Leon. I do. Like, I think we need to start building Leon to our next big star, our youngest X Division champion ever. I think that's and Moose would be the perfect dragon for him to slay. And also it would be very intriguing because while Moose outweighs him by a lot, he's not that much taller than Leon Slater. Leon Slater needs to fill out a little bit more. But I think that would be a really, really freaking interesting match. And excited for that. After the match was over, Trent Seven then turns on Speedball. And so it looks like that's going to be Speedball's last feud in TNA, is this breaking up the Speedball Mountain tag team, which they have not teamed since April. So, I think they might have teamed at one point when Speedball was getting ready for the Mustafa Ali match at Slammiversary. I think they teamed once then, but that Trent Seven has gone heel. I like the way that they did it. We all saw it coming, but it was effective. I thought it was good TV. I think Trent Seven's a good wrestler and he's actually a good character. And they've had a really good match before, but him being a heel probably presents it into makes it a different type of match. Now, Speedball was not at the taping last night. I don't know if he's at the taping tonight. I'm hoping that he is, so that way they could further that match. But I'm guessing that's the Final Resolution match. I think they do Final Resolution, Trent Seven and Speedball, and and then that's probably where we say goodbye to Speedball. Like, that's probably his big hoorah. It would have been nice if he lost to a Leon Slater, but maybe they do that at the TV taping afterwards. They have him lose to Leon, and then Leon gets primed for an X Division run, and maybe Genesis you do Moose and Leon, but who knows? Billy's here. Hey, sorry, Billy, I I'm starting an hour earlier now, Billy, because of the time change. Hawaii does not have daylight savings time, so I'm only 5 hours behind East Coast. So I'm starting at 11 now as opposed to 12. So you're just now joining us. But Billy says main event was my favorite TV match in 2024 of any promotion. That's big coming from Billy because Billy watches a lot of the different shows. You know what? I'm still putting Josh and Osprey above that one, but this one's like right there. So like my two favorite television matches so far this year were this one and the Josh and Will Ospreay from January. And so whenever TNA takes off the last 2 weeks of the year, we'll have I'm going to send a voting thing through Patreon, and then I'll send it out through YouTube and Twitter about getting the match of the year results for TNA. And I think this one's going to be right up there. It really is. I just love the match so much. I really like the big man, little man dynamic between Speedball and Moose. And then I like how Moose was able to turn up his athleticism to match. Like Moose had to turn up his athleticism to match Speedball's at one point. And it wasn't like he could no longer overpower him because Bailey was so technically proficient that he was able to thwart some of Moose's big man athleticism. I thought it was great. Really, really, really good. Here's another one from Billy. Moose was great, but Bailey literally hasn't had a match in 2024 that hasn't been 4 stars or higher. TNA will miss Bailey. His matches hype up the crowd. Yeah. You know, I really wish they would have re-signed him. He's never going to be a top guy in any promotion. But for here, he feels important. He really is a big part of the company. He's been great for 3 years. TNA is really going to miss him. But I feel like they've already started to live life without him. There's lots of talent out there on the indies that they could bring in. And so he's going to go on to bigger and better things, very likely AEW. It would not shock me that on January 3rd, when TNA is live from San Antonio, Ring of Honor's live from wherever they're at. And one of the first people you see is Speedball Bailey on the new Ring of Honor on True TV, which would be my guess. I think that's what they're going to do. IO Productions' best of 2024 episode is going to be Chef's Kiss. Yeah, I think that's going to be fun. I want you guys all to participate. It's going to be really cool, man. But hey, that's going to do it for me this week on Brace for Impact. I greatly appreciate you. If you're watching this clip on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, just like it says right there on my logo. I would greatly appreciate it. That is going to do it for me this week. And until next time, mahalo.
Hold your breath, but it won't last. The walls are closing in.